Welcome back to the Say It With Your Chest podcast, and I am Alicia. I'm back with a little news that you can use, and this story comes out of West Virginia. It's about a wealthy white couple who adopted 5 black children, and they were basically human trafficking these kids ages 6 to 16, and they were found living in deplorable conditions. 2 of the teens were locked in a filthy shed without basic amenities, while another child was in a loft in the main house. The indictment alleges that they were treated as slaves, and the couple allegedly also prohibited them from entering the main house. The couple faces multiple charges, including human trafficking, forced labor involving minors, and child neglect, creating a substantial risk of severe injury or death. They pleaded not guilty to the charges on Tuesday, WCHS-TV reported. The investigation began after a neighbor reported concerns about the well-being of the children. Police found 2 teenagers, a 14-year-old boy and a 16-year-old girl, locked in a shed on the couple's property. The shed had no lights, running water, or mattresses, only an RV porta potty. The teens told police they were forced to sleep on the concrete floor and were last fed 12 hours prior. The boy had open sores on his bare feet, and both children wore dirty clothes and smelled of body odor. A 9-year-old girl was found inside the residence, while an 11-year-old boy and a 6-year-old girl were brought to the property later by the couple. Kanawha County Circuit Judge McClare Akers described the incident as one of the worst she has ever seen, citing allegations of human trafficking and racial targeting that alleges human trafficking, human rights violations, the use of forced labor. Judge Akers said, as per the New York Post, these children were targeted because of their race, and they were used basically as slaves from what the indictment alleges. Judge Akers increased the couple's bond from $200,000 to $500,000, each citing the severe nature of the human trafficking and child neglect charges. She stated that the initial bond was insufficient due to the risk of bodily harm or death involved. The case will go to trial on September the 9th. Wow, you guys. I want to get your thoughts and opinions on this story that I just read about these children that were human trafficked, basically by this couple who supposed to have adopted them to basically take care of them. And here they are forcing these children to do labor and basically locking them up, keeping them confined, not feeding them properly, not taking care of them properly, and they're pleading not guilty. This story deserves a lot of attention, and I just feel like, hopefully justice is served, and that these 2 people and individuals get locked up, and that they never be able to adopt any other children ever again. That's just my opinion, that they do not need to have any other children living with them, or they don't need to be any type of foster parents, and they should be locked away, because this is just deplorable. But let me get your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section on what you think of this story, and I will catch you on the next video.
A couple accused of human trafficking and forced labor of adopted children, including 2 teenagers who were found locked in a barn in Sissonville. Well, they're back in jail.
Now, during their arraignment this afternoon, Judge Mary Claire Akers significantly increased the bonds for Gene Whitefeather and Donald Lance. Anna Saunders joins us live in the studio tonight with the reason. Anna?
Dave, Gina, before setting their bonds to $500,000 cash each, Judge Akers said she has never seen an indictment quite like this, and that not only alleges the trafficked black children, adopting them from shelters and foster care, forcing them to work, but that they specifically targeted them because of their race. Jeannie Whitefeather and Donald Lance came in on their own for their arraignments, but left in cuffs after Judge Mary Claire Akers set their bonds at $500,000, more than double what they had already paid.
And I don't think I've ever seen an indictment like this in all of my time. It alleges human trafficking, human rights violations, the use of forced labor, human rights violations specific to the fact that these children were targeted because of their race. and their use as basically slaves from what the indictment alleges, along with human trafficking and neglect with serious risk of bodily injury or death, I don't find the bond to be sufficient.
Whitefeather and Lance were first arrested last October when a welfare check turned into the discovery of two teens apparently locked in a shed where investigators said they lived in deplorable conditions behind the Sissonville home. One other kid was found inside the house and two others were not home, all adopted by the couple. The indictment brought more than a dozen new charges against them alleging human trafficking and forced labor, also civil rights violations, as investigators believe they targeted these children specifically from a shelter because they were black, forcing them to work as slaves. Whitefeather and Lance were originally in Washington State, and it is alleged they brought the children with them to Sissonville when they moved.
Counts 9 through 12 allege the use of forced labor, which I read as slavery.
Bond was initially set at $200,000 cash, and they were both able to post it. Prosecutors have said in a new complaint for forfeiture, the couple sold a $725,000 80-acre ranch in Washington State and sold their Sissonville home to post bond, and they believe both of these properties were paid for through trafficking. That will be decided in a separate court matter, but because of this, prosecutors say they found discrepancies in the financial affidavit Lance filled out for a court-appointed attorney, leading to a new charge on his indictment.
Some of the information on his face is inaccurate.
Lance had to fill out a new affidavit today as the two were taken back into custody. Now, the next time these two are scheduled to appear in court is for their scheduled trial in September. Prosecutors noted there are volumes of evidence in this case for all sides to go through. Now, in terms of the bond issue with how the original bonds were paid for, that is to be worked out at a later date. Live in the studio, Anna Saunders, Eyewitness News.